Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Monday Night Raw review. I'm your host, Davon, back in the flesh for another nitty gritty, everything's a saucy video. Appreciate you guys always showing your love and support as Monday Night Raw was red hot when it came to everything that went on with tonight's showcase. More importantly, everything was looking good from my own personal opinion. And they were live in Baltimore, Maryland, as the fallout for SummerSlam as so many different storylines and things had happened. More importantly, things were shaping up when it came to the land of professional wrestling. Appreciate you guys coming through for my episode for August 5th, 2024. More importantly, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty of everything that went down from Monday Night Raw. Appreciate you guys. Tonight's show started off with Ludwig Kaiser. He's heading towards the ring, back from an injury which was sustained by when it came to Braun Breaker. But more importantly, he was coming out as he demanded his gratitude for the new World Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General Gunther. As things continue to progress and be pushed, it was a great feat by seeing Gunther coming out, smiling, suited and booted, dressed very well with his suit. He proceeded to make his way in when it came to his anger ring. He embraced Kaiser before things got underway from behind. The crowd gave him a mixed reaction, but more importantly, he said the boos began to take over as well. Gunther smiles and the crowd then starts to chant, "You deserve it." Gunther says, "My name is Gunther. I am the ring general." More importantly, he says, "I am the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. I am the king of the ring, and I am your World Heavyweight Champion. Tonight, I leave a new legacy behind, and everything begins. The title and the company have deserved more for a very long time. If I thought what I did with the Intercontinental Championship was historic, more importantly, he said, wait until you see what he does with the World Heavyweight Championship. More importantly, what he does in the ring. He's above everyone, and he is ready and prepared for everyone and everything that comes in his path. There's nothing that can catch him off guard, and he is the greatness personified. More importantly, he says, from the day forth, Monday Night Raw will be the legacy and the greatest business and sport, as well as the World Heavyweight Championship, which belongs to him. Then out of nowhere, you know what we get. I hear voices in my head. Randy Orton makes his way directly down. He comes directly out. The Viper, of course, has a lot to say. The crowd is red hot. They start singing his music even after they cut off. Randy ends up getting it looking directly at him. He says, and Gunther says, "Well, Randy, I have to say I was wrong because they caught me. This definitely caught me off guard." The crowd ends up laughing. Orton says that he wanted to come out and congratulate him, but more importantly, this is not his style. The title does look good hanging over his shoulder. More importantly, Orton says Gunther is a good-looking champion. But more importantly, he said he can't help to see how things had turned out when it came to the King of the Ring in the first place. But did Gunther really beat him? And the crowd ends up start gasping and start cheering, some with a mixed crowd reaction. And he says the people know it, Orton knows it, and even Triple H knows it. Orton then proceeds to say that Gunther versus Randy Orton sequel is coming and is next to be delivered. He said Triple H told him the world that there will be a part two. And that's actually what he is there for, more importantly. He came for a match in the ring, and Orton says that the only man who can match Gunther in the ring, move for move, chop for chop, counter for counter, and technician for technician, making it feel like a smooth transition. I feel like Steamboat and Ric Flair, but more so calling Gunther of being questioned of calling himself a living legend. More importantly, he said, which is fine, but Orton says his career is out for killing legends. And he said as well as that the bash in Berlin, he'll do it again and walk out of Germany and Gunther's home country and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Another Orton chant breaks out from the crowd as Gunther contemplates and thinks about it for a moment. Gunther says everything Orton says it's true. Not beating Orton clean at King of the Ring left a stain on his record, which I highly think so. Then he says that if those voices are telling Orton that he'll take the championship from him in Berlin and beat him in Berlin, he has to tell Orton that those voices are wrong, more importantly. Gunther says, Randy Orton, I accept your challenge. And in close, he says, absolutely nothing catches him off guard. Orton says he heard that before. But more importantly, Randy Orton says that I want to hit him with the RKO out of nowhere, but he wants Gunther to see it coming. As Randy Orton walks off and his music proceeded to play during that segment. The segment was pretty decent for my own hot take. It was a decent mid-level segment. This kickoff Monday Night Raw. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It was good. Kept me invested, and I enjoyed every little bit of everything that went on when it came to the actual segment. More importantly, things continued to pick off as the crowd in Baltimore was red hot. They were cheering along. This had a feeling like it was the Raw after WrestleMania, but this was the Raw after SummerSlam. And this really felt like that kind of energy. And it was great. It was poised. The fans were invested. More importantly, I enjoyed everything when it came to everybody's involvement. And it was great kind of seeing how everybody was doing their thing when it came to tonight for Monday Night Raw. Appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support. More importantly, don't hit that like button, or as well for my YouTube, hit that subscribe button, or as well as share this content if you're a true fan of professional wrestling. More importantly, I appreciate you for coming through out of your time, your day for this final evening to chop it up. More importantly, chime down in the comments and let me know how the stream is doing. Make sure the mic is all working as well. Throw a 1 in the chat. As well as proceed to Let's Talk Professional Wrestling and get to the nitty gritty of everything that continue to be saucy for this channel on all my actual platforms. Jackie Redmond's in a gorilla position. She's with Sheamus. She admits that Sheamus has a growing list of people he wants to have a piece of him, including Luigi Kaiser, including him being injured because of Sheamus, and says that the human Ken doll has gotten himself clear and demand a match tonight. Sheamus has his sights set on Pete Dunne, but don't call me Butch when it comes to Pete Dunne when Sheamus actually recalled it. More importantly, he said last week was a taste of what you can see when it comes to when it's fight night. Then he said, what can you do? All these ups and coming cats want to make a name for themselves off of Sheamus. Sheamus she says, bring it on. And tonight he tests out Kaiser, fragile ribs, and then he says that then he put Dunne on the shelf, and Sheamus says, ask Baltimore if they're ready for another banger. And they are, as the crowd continued to cheer, and they pretty much was invested. Both competitors, Luigi Kaiser and Sheamus, get things underway. This match was red hot. I enjoyed everything about it. It was a true investment and true testament of hard-hitting action. A little bit of strong style. More importantly, it was great of seeing something. This wasn't no flips and dips. This was straight fists and kicks when it came to everything that went down in this actual match. Kaiser started things off red hot by attacking Sheamus up the ramp, and then from there, as he was making his entrance, Sheamus quickly sends him into the barricade to kick things off. But Kaiser quickly fights him back, and then Kaiser punches him away from him as Sheamus turns him around and punches him down. Then Sheamus gets Kaiser into the ring and then takes his shirt off. And Sheamus gets to the ring and they battle to the corner before Sheamus punches him completely down from there. Then things continue to progress as the bell finally gets the ring as things continue to progress. Kaiser punches with a couple of uppercuts to Sheamus, but Sheamus responds with the uppercut that floors him and drops Kaiser to his feet. Sheamus sends him into the ropes, but with a lower uppercut of his own, and then he ends up hitting him, and then he proceeded to kick him and drop him to his knees. Kaiser charges at him in the corner, so Sheamus goes for a boot, but Kaiser blocks it, and Kaiser viciously chops him and proceeded to hit a forearm directly to Sheamus. The crowd is very invested tonight in Sheamus, as the crowd was red hot for everything that Sheamus was doing. They was giving a big pop for Sheamus. More importantly, losing Kaiser, they was booing him. So they was giving a couple of cheers when it came to when Sheamus was hitting. And then when Kaiser was going on the offense, they were booing. They proceeded to go back and forth after Sheamus soon hits a couple blocks after attack was blocked after Kaiser was trying to punch away directly at him in the midsection. Sheamus puts him on his shoulders and hits him with a rolling senton. Then Sheamus proceeded to heat directly to the top rope, but Kaiser rolls out of the ring and Kaiser calls for the referee, Eddie Orrego, and most of them that his ribs are currently injured. Things continue to progress as the match took a little break from a commercial break, and then Kaiser attacks him against the steel steps before getting back in the ring. Kaiser exits onto the pole side of the ring, running around before being drop kicked by Sheamus into the steps. Then Kaiser gets into the ring and looks for the countout, but they get all the way up to almost close to 9, and Sheamus slides back directly into the ring. Kaiser attacks Sheamus in the corner and digs into his knee into the face. Sheamus is looking dazed as Kaiser kicks him in the ribs and rips at the face before elbowing him directly into the head. Sheamus fights back with the right hand into the midsection, but Kaiser cuts him off with a thrust to the throat. Kaiser drops, kicks him down, and tackles him to the actual rope. The follow-up into the ring, and as Sheamus is hung up on the bottom rope as Kaiser takes him down, unfortunately. Kaiser then ends up hitting, has a little psychotic look directly in his face. He taunts the crowd. The crowd ends up booing him and actually chanting, "You suck." More importantly, Kaiser ends up pulling on to Sheamus' hair and setting him up for the 10 beat, but gets caught in a reversal as Sheamus ends up reversing to the 10 beats of Bataran. Things proceeded with a few shots into a short arm clothesline onto the apron. The crowd started chanting, "Let's go" to Sheamus as Sheamus finally rallied back with some wind under him as he continued to rally back into this actual match. He comes up with a couple of slaps to the face, and then he continues to proceed to fire up with a transitional moves back and forth. Sheamus has finally whipped the reversal and then runs through a clothesline and connects a hammer throw. Then Sheamus follows up with a clothesline before hitting a corner clothesline. Then he competes into running to an Irish Curse backbreaker, which was a decent solid one. Kaiser sold it like a G, and I really enjoyed most of it, of the way how that match actually continued to transition throughout the night. Then Sheamus fights back with a white noise for a near fall for a 2 count. Then things proceeded as Sheamus punches him down and applies the Cloverleaf for a submission, but Kaiser yells in pain, but he manages to get to the bottom rope to break up the actual submission. Then Sheamus then grabs Kaiser for the 10 beats of Bram, and actually Kaiser was able to counter it by snapping him off the ropes. Kaiser hits Sheamus with a discus clothesline for a 2 count as the crowd kept chanting for Sheamus, and they kept chanting, "Let's go Sheamus." Things continue to progress back and forth as they went back onto the outside, and then they proceeded back in the ring. Then Sheamus gets Kaiser in the ring and then steps side a Solelli attack from Pete Dunne, who comes directly out there. Sheamus avoids another attack from Dunne, then hits a bicycle knee to the jaw and lays Pete Dunne directly out. Sheamus gets in the ring and Kaiser floors him with a step enziguri for a near fall. But Kaiser flips out of it and then he couldn't put Sheamus away. But Kaiser grabs Sheamus, but Sheamus fights out, hits a decent bicycle knee right directly to the jaw, and then Sheamus immediately follows up with a vicious bro kick for picking up the victory. This match was really hard hitting, and I enjoyed everything about it. A lot of transitional moves, a lot of back and forth. This match was ugly. It was brutal to the fullest, but that nice little spot of Pete Dunne coming directly into this match really engaged everything as they continue to elevate their feud. As Sheamus has so many newcomers coming directly at him from all directions, but he's making it fight night on Monday nights on the Red brand, and he's stepping up to the highest degree, and I give him his props. More importantly, it was a phenomenal match. and I enjoyed the majority of it. I'll give this match directly a 4 out of 5 stars. It was decent. It kept me invested. More importantly, I enjoyed every single aspect of the actual match. Then we get a highlight reel of Roman Reigns' return at SummerSlam, resulting in 100 million views across every single social media platform. That was something that was unprecedented, as well as the sales on the WWE shop for his new merchandise, including his actual customized championship for his long, almost 3-year reign. And it was a great feat by seeing him really just elevated, showing he's the actual true face of WWE. Michael Cole mentions the Wyatt SICKS debut in Baltimore in 2013, and it all comes full circle as the Wyatt SICKS makes their in-ring debut tonight. As initially, this is the actual homecoming of the Wyatt family's original debut, but the debut of the Wyatt SICKS. Then they show a video package of the history of the Wyatt family, and the Wyatt SICKS was pretty dope. I like the actual cinematic setup of showing everybody that was involved, including Braun Strowman. I know Braun Strowman was in an interview earlier, and he talked about why he's staying his distance. He said if he gets too close to the Wyatt SICKS, it's going to bring an ugly side out of him, and he's not sure if he's ready to go in that direction. But I think Braun Strowman actually 100% needs that facelift to help him get back into the rally of things. Right now, he's feeling flatline and has no direction when it comes to actual storylines. More importantly, we don't know what's actually going on when it comes to directly for Braun Strowman. As we continue to get things underway, the pre-show, we ended up continuing to go things as Chad Gable and the Cree Brothers shown arriving in the Baltimore arena earlier. They faced the Wyatt SICKS later on as continue the progress things with the Wyatt SICKS. And Chad Gable and the Cree Brothers are looking to become a new wrecking faction. I'm loving the way how Triple H is really implementing and adding new people each and every single week. More importantly, he's being invested into stables. So we're getting a lot more stables on the red brand and the blue brand, including NXT as well. The women's getting a little bit of love, but I feel like the tag team divisions need to get a little bit more love for the men's and the women's division, because lately this has been feeling flatline when it comes to the tag team division in general. I'd like to know from you guys' own personal opinion, how are you feeling directly about the everything that's been going on when it comes to the tag team division? Do you feel like you're going to be invested once we have new teams that are actually signing with World Wrestling Entertainment? News broke earlier today that the Lucha Bros official contract will be ending with All Elite Wrestling. I feel like this is a big L when it comes to everything that Tony Khan had invested. But Lucha Bros coming to WWE will be a big W. But will they get some time on television to be able to showcase himself, to be a part of Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown? Time's to tell when it comes to everything. As well as we have Motor City Machine Guns, who will be making their actual signage as well to World Wrestling Entertainment. Or hopefully they be invested and really be enjoyable when it comes to their long legacy, as they are true veterans in the independent scene. But seeing them both under one umbrella under the World Wrestling Entertainment, probably their last contract, their last Ruha, they probably be around for another 3 or 4 years before they hang up the boots. Then we get the WWE congratulates Terrence Crawford on his box fame and show pictures of him celebrating with Eminem. And that was okay. That was pretty decent when it came to a nice little showcase. Then we get directly straight to business. Damian Priest comes out. He calls off Finn Balor. He's playing no games and he's straight to business. Everything about Damian Priest is straight on. He's on the money and he's not playing any games whatsoever. He calls off Finn Balor. He's straightforward. Of course, he go through his own thing of saying all rise for the Damian Priest. He demands for him to come out directly and tell him take this beating like a man. More importantly, he says Balor doesn't answer the call. Priest asks if he doesn't, he goes from the prince to a backstabbing scumbag. and to a coward. Balor knows where Priest is from and his story. More importantly, he says he known him for most of his life. He has been on his own until he found the Judgment Day, and they gave him a reason to fight and a feeling of belonging, which is true. They really helped him out. He's one of the original members of the Judgment Day, and he had a purpose. But now that the Judgment Day has turned their back directly on Damian Priest. Damian Priest proceeded to say, as I quote, they gave him a reason to fight and a feeling of belonging. After the premiere of his documentary and hearing what the people that mean to him most, as well as the people that are here, he realizes his family is a whole lot bigger. Priest wants to introduce Balor to his new family and acknowledges the crowd, which the crowd gives a nice prop. Who he gets a standing ovation from the fans is directly there. Priest proceeded to say he isn't upset that he lost the World Heavyweight Championship because he can win it back. More importantly, Priest is pissed off because Balor took the title from all of them. Balor made him feel like he's disappointed in his family. For someone like Priest, more importantly, he can't let that stand. Priest tells Balor to listen closely. He was firm about it. And he let him know when he is suffering, Balor should know that he's the reason for that pain. Priest proceeded to say, and he tells Balor to get out there and let the beating begin. Finn Balor appears on the Titantron as he proceeded to bring himself. He's in a dark, cinematic kind of style in the back room somewhere. They dim the lights. They have a little purple underglow directly in the background. Things were kind of like looking kind of nice. They had a spotlight directly on his face. Balor proceeded to say Priest brought this upon himself. And Balor didn't betray Priest. Priest betrayed the Judgment Day. More importantly, they were supposed to have each other's back. No leaders. Which is true. But they all changed when Priest became champion and when Mommy became champion. Priest went back on his word. A year ago, Balor almost became the champion. What was it Priest said in the car to console him after the loss? Priest told him to man up. Balor waited a full entire year to officially man up, which doesn't make sense, but that's his actual words that he actually expressed it. Balor said he screwed Priest and his family. Priest says he's from the streets, but he's just a loser from the streets. Balor won't fight him, but someone else earned it, and he will fight him. JD McDonough will, and Balor says we'll wait until Priest feels safe and comfortable until among almost forgetting about him. When Priest's back is turned, Balor will be there to stab him directly in the back, which is straight cold-hearted. Then he said again, it won't just be him, it'll be all of us. Then we end up getting JD McDonough, Carlito, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and Liv Morgan appearing in the frame with the new form Judgment Day. Damian Priest is irate before angrily heading to the back to end that actual segment. The commentators, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, break down the hilarious segment of him spitting water with Triple H, and then he showcases a freebie attempt from Michael Cole. Then we proceeded to actual general manager's office of Adam Pearce. He's on the phone when Big Bronson Reed comes in the office, and Reed is not happy that he didn't get a piece of Sheamus tonight. More importantly, Reed says that there will always be excuse with Pearce, but Reed says if he wants to get to the top, he has to create his own path. And then Reed walks off. And that's a true statement. He's been catered lies. He haven't really got too much opportunities. And I feel like for any kind of superstar that come along when it comes to World Wrestling Entertainment, you got to make your own path and you got to find your own strife that most importantly will work for you, not only in your presence, but become great at everything that you choose to do. So it'll be interesting to see what Big Bronson Reed will do when it comes to him in his showcase. But I'm 100% will be highly invested to see what will happen when he finally gets his turn to get up there with the big boys and show what he can do. He reminds me so much of Bam Bam Bigelow and Big Van Vader with the way how he has his great skills. More importantly, his weight of his big size to do harm, similar to Earthquake and Typhoon, Vader, all those big guys that have come along in the past. He's inspired by them, and now he's making his own destiny when it comes to the Red brand on Monday Night Raw. Lyra Valkyria, Shayna Baszler in a singles match. Sonya Deville and Zoe Starks at ringside, assisting with Shayna Baszler for this lovely singles match. This match is pretty decent. Couldn't ask for anything better when it came to these ladies. Lyra is alone tonight as Kaden Carter's banged up as Lena Vega's out with an injured arm. Kaden Carter had her nose broken by the Z360 last week on Monday Night Raw. Hopefully she has no animosity about that. But you know, when it comes to personally behind the screen when nobody sees nothing, these ladies feel like sometimes some of these new superstars try to personally take them out and it pisses them off. The bell rings when it came to Baszler. Quickly takes it to Valkyria and started to attack the left arm. Baszler stumps and stretches before Valkyria fights back. Valkyria ends up hitting a pair of clotheslines before connecting with a big strike combination. Baszler blocks a step up enziguri and goes for an ankle lock. Then Valkyria gets directly up and then was able to get off with her own impression of hot shrieks. Valkyria hits an impressive gut wrench into a sit down powerbomb for a 2 count. As things continue to proceed, Valkyria heads to the top rope, but Zoe gets on the apron. Valkyria kicks off Starks and then jumps over Baszler, tweaks her knee, and Valkyria baseball slides into Sonya Deville. Baszler goes for a Kafuda clutch, but Valkyria fights out. Valkyria hits the Nightwing on one leg, nearly. She covers, but Deville and Zoe Starks break up the pinfall, cause the disqualification. The heels proceeded to put the beat down on the babyface. As things continue to pick up, Damage Control look like they seem to have jumped face. Quickly runs down to make a brawl when it comes to Zoe Starks, Deville, and Baszler, before clearing the ring out and leaving the heels running directly up the ramp. It's going to be intriguing to see how Damage Control does as a face. I'll be truly interested, but this match was very super quick. I feel like it was lackluster. It was a 3 out of 5 stars from my own personal opinion, but it truly could have been better if they really booked it a little bit better when it came to the ladies. I feel like they really dropped the ball tonight when it came to the ladies. But other than that, it was hard to get invested into this match, but they got to find something to do better when it comes to these trios of Zoe Starks, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville when they go against Damage Control. They got to find their niche to get the fans invested, or fans are just going to tune out completely and fall asleep over this feud. Then we get a video package of Karrion Kross, who's backstage with the Final Testament. Kross says Doomsday Clock strikes midnight on Raw. The Authors of Pain will put the end to the team that has stood to the test of time for 10 years. And he's talking about Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, who have been the pillars in the business, ushering the power of positivity. You gotta love it. Unfortunately, all good must come to an end as Kross laughs and says it is tragic. More importantly, he says the real tragedy is that they didn't have to their way with Woods, but Kingston carved out his own path and became the man. Woods is too afraid to become his own man. History will remain of Woods as he stands next to the man. It is so sad, but he didn't have to be in his own way for Woods, but Cross gave him many opportunities to join the Final Testament. More importantly, Cross gave more detail as he chooses faith, and he will stand with Kingston. But he shares Kingston's fate when he will witness the death of the New Day, as the Final Testament will reign supreme. That was hard. I love the way how that actual segment hit. I finally was able to check back for word for everything that happened in that segment. It was a little bit hard to hear, but now just reading the actual script of what he actually said really hit home. And Karrion Cross is a very, very great, talented superstar. I wish they gave him the ball and make a run, but lately he feel like a mid Carter. I don't know if he could be able to bounce back and redeem himself, but we shall see how the test of time, where they need to give him the Intercontinental Championship run against Braun Breaker, but I think Braun Breaker is going to hold it for at least up to Royal Rumble. Then we get a backstage segment of CM Punk, who's walking backstage. He addresses his loss to Drew McIntyre next. They go into the commercial break. They do a major headlines coming out of SummerSlam, all the recaps and replays that kept the fans highly invested. Ivan Niles is backstage talking with Brutus and Julius Creed. Maxine Dupree ends up coming up, and the Cree Brothers walk away. Dupree says that she hasn't seen Niles in weeks, and now she's hanging out with the Cree Brothers, who have viciously attacked Otis and Akira Tozawa. Niles says that the boys are passionate. Chad Gable walks up and wants to know what is going on. Chad Gable, of course, getting his normal thing and cuts them directly off and says that Maxine Dupree has nothing to value. More importantly, nothing to offer. Dupree can keep the Alpha Academy name. He's done with them, 100%. They'll take down the Wyatt SICKS in the main event, and Gable walks off with Ivy Niles as Dupree looks furious and look concerned as they walked away. Then we get to CM Punk. He comes directly out. He addresses the crowd. The crowd erupts. The crowd tonight was loud chanting for CM Punk. He picks up the mic and he says the people have been wondering why he's smiling. He says he's in a happy, good mood. Punk puts over Belal Muhammad, his former teammate who won the UFC Welterweight Championship at UFC 304. Punk loves watching hard work pay off, and he congratulates him. More importantly, he says why is Punk happy? He lost a Saturday at SummerSlam. Punk proceeded to say he would do things that he didn't do, but this is why he's happy. He hasn't been in Baltimore in over 10 years, which is a long time. The crowd proceeded to cheer to feed his ego when he comes out. 10,000 people are screaming his name at him. Then a loud CM Punk chant rings out in the Baltimore crowd. That fires him up and it makes him more happy. He said losing doesn't make him happy, but SummerSlam wasn't guaranteed. Baltimore, things proceed as a lot of people in the crowd loved him. Because every time he gets knocked down, he gets right back up. There's people who hate him in the company because he won't stay down. More importantly, he says that SummerSlam wasn't guaranteed. He was hurt in January after the circumstances that happened at SummerSlam, at Royal Rumble. He said the doctors told him he's going to be out for 9 months, but he proved them wrong and came back in 5. He said there is big bad Drew McIntyre, who hurt him, that happens. Still, he gloated about it and prayed on it. He even put it on a t-shirt. More importantly, Punk says he worked when it came to a situation that proceeded to happen. He told no lies about Punk. Why is Punk happy he lost his Drew McIntyre? Punk says he's back at SummerSlam was a start, and people's road to WrestleMania usually starts in January at the Royal Rumble. Punk proceeds to say it started that Saturday for him, and he worked from the bottom and worked all the way back up to the top, where he would be once again if it wasn't for the fans. More importantly, he said where it wouldn't be the last time he lost a championship, but the summer of hate that didn't start the way he predicted, but it's still summer. Punk says that he's in a packed house with beautiful people deserving less than CM Punk is talking, more and more of the PM Punk fighting instead. Punk wants to round up two with Drew McIntyre, and he previously said that he will wants him and he wants to put him through the ground. And he said he was still standing. And then, of course, out of nowhere, we get that blaring to burn it down. Seth freaking Rollins, makes his president way to an entrance in the outfit. He gets his normal giddy up with the fans chanting, singing along to his song as he makes his way to the entrance. He proceeded to get the microphone. And Seth Rollins says, "You're in a mood, good mood." Well, so am I, because after 10 years, it's finally time for me to put you in the dirt. Rollins goes to the ring, but Punk is standing in his way. And Rollins asks if he goes to let him in the ring. Punk says he doesn't dress like a cowboy like Rollins, but he'll be his Huckleberry. And Punk prepares for a fight. Then, before they about to proceed to brawl directly in the ring, Drew McIntyre starts shouting on the microphone, but you see him directly pan into the crowd. Drew McIntyre asked him, "What's up with all the negativity tonight?" Tonight is a night of celebration. Everyone is talking about the biggest match of SummerSlam when McIntyre defeated CM Punk with Seth Rollins pinning the 1, 2, and 3. McIntyre proceeded to tell Punk to pay attention because he's going to talk about Punk's favorite subject. More importantly, he says that he's going to talk about the shocking the world on Saturday and show that he still got it. As well as that, he proceeded to say that Punk is no longer the best in the world, but McIntyre is. Punk and Rollins haven't taken their eyes off each other as McIntyre continued to talk on the mic. He proceeded to get upset. McIntyre holds up a bracelet and says his stupid little dog Larry and his lovely wife AJ is in his corner. And Punk says he has heard enough and fears he charges to the crowd to get to McIntyre as McIntyre runs off. Rollins watches on as things proceed to happen. Before he turned around, he gets an avalanche splash on clothesline from Big Bronson Reed. Reed takes it to the Rollins, and Rollins fights back and super kicks him before hitting a big boot. But Reed doesn't go down, and Reed crushes him with the Death Valley driver and connects with a 2 splashes. Then he proceeded to go ahead to the top rope and hit not 1 tsunami, not 2, but a total of 5 tsunamis to crush Seth Rollins down. The crowd kept chanting one more time. Seth Rollins was spewing from the guts, and he was spewing out blood when it came to everything that had actually went on. Rollins was writhing in pain and in full agony. The staff came out to try to break up the situation, and Big Bronson Reed left a statement by taking out no other than Seth freaking Rollins. Then they proceeded to go to the commercial break as they got things underway from there. All right, we got a comment. We got somebody breaking in. This is Parker. What's going on, Parker? You said hi. What's going on, champ? Hopefully everything's all good with your night. Appreciate you coming through, showing your love and support. It's always appreciated when we get people coming through on the live chat. It's always appreciated. Did you enjoy Monday Night Raw? More importantly, are you having a good night so far after everything that transpired? And what was your favorite thing that went on when it came to Monday Night Raw? And for our people over on, I believe we have a few folks over on Twitch as well. Appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support. It's always appreciated. Then we got the replay of the actual beatdown of Seth Rollins and Big Bronson Reed. After those big tsunamis that proceeded to show everything. Then we go to a backstage interview with Jackie Redman. She's backstage with General Manager Adam Pearce. She asked about Seth Rollins' injuries and his health. Pearce says it's too soon to tell, but there is potential for internal bleeding and says they're taking him to the hospital. All right, he says, do you like Junkyard Dog? JYD, of course, 100%. JYD, I grew up on him. He's one of my old-time favorites. Those are one of the ones that got me truly invested when it came to professional wrestling, 100%. My two people that really got me truly invested back in the days was Junkyard Dog, as well as Bad News Brown. He was kind of like that rugged, kind of street smart kind of style kind of wrestler. He had a great feud when it came to Roddy Piper, when it came to WrestleMania, and so many other feuds, as well as so many other greats that have come along the lines of World Wrestling Entertainment or previous WWF, as well as Ron Simmons when he was in WCW. Those are my go-to guys that started me to get in the business back in the days when I were enjoying them, as well as Andre the Giant. He was one of my fellow peak guys before he came to WWE, when he was in the Mid-South and worked his way all over the tour, being undefeated before he got into the ring with Hulk Hogan. Those things were always being great. He said, what happened to Junkyard Dog? Let me actually get the details for you quick. I believe that information, I could get that for you real quick. I forgot what actually happened to him. You talking about his health or just in general? Let me see. I believe it's been a while since he's been gone for a minute. But for Junkyard Dog JYD, what happened to him? He was a good wrestler. Let me see. Let me go to the details. Well, he died back in 1998. It's been a while since June. The detailed things of his actual health when things broke down, when it came to everything that happened to him, it was circumstances of so many different things. It was a car accident off the interstate of 20 near Forest in Mississippi. So basically, a DUI driver had actually ended up killing him. So that's actually what happened to the Junkyard Dog when it came to that situation. I know it's one of those sad things that we never expect to see that happen to so many great talent, but that's what ended up happening to JYD. He's one of those talents that really knew how to get over in so many great ways. And more importantly, he's always been a great talent. But a lot of talent actually have passed that way when it came to drunk drivers or being under the influence of too much alcohol, or as well as painkillers that can really do it and really transition them or take them over the edge when they're at their peak. But it's one of those things that you never expect to happen in on the outside of professional wrestling. But you never know what can happen at that split moment. Is that they could be on top of the world, and next minute it can all crash and burn. I believe that was the same situation that happened to Macho Man Randy Savage. He ended up having a cardiac arrest, but of course, alcohol was a little bit of influence. I know he was a little bit under the influence when that situation happened, and he proceeded to hit into a tree, but his wife has survived. But a lot of those talents from back in the days are really struggling when it comes to everything that they have going on in their own personal life. I just seen Marcus Buff Bagwell. He's only in his 50s and he barely can walk, which is kind of sad that he had so many direct issues when it came to that. He said Ultra Warrior died after the Hall of Fame. Is that right? 100% Parker. Ultra Warrior did die. He had a heart attack. So basically he was on his way from one of the venues. After that night at the hotel, he was making his way to the car and his family was with him. Unfortunately, his girls had to see that, and everybody that was with him had proceeded to see that situation. That was a sad situation when it came to the Warrior family, when he had transitioned. Those are one of those things you never expect to see happen when it comes to Ultimate Warrior. He's one of those big guys that pretty much made the land a foundation when it came to World Wrestling Entertainment. And he was a true pillar when it came to the Vince McMahon era to help him in the good old 80s and 90s. Well, in the 80s. He tried to come back in the 90s for WCW, but that was kind of like a big flop. But more importantly, they still gave him his flowers, and he was able to make peace when it came to Vince McMahon and all the people that he had direct issues with, including Hulk Hogan. But Hogan still, from time to time, still make up lies on him, which I feel like they still have beef, and they never really resolved. But they kind of just hugged each other, kind of like just get by and make it look good for the cameras. But behind the scenes, I don't really know if they really had squashed their problems. But a lot of talent, including Eddie Guerrero, died from a heart attack as well. A lot of talent had went out from the heart attack because they got the enlargement of steroids back in the day. It wasn't controlled. As well, it was one of those things in time where things just wasn't as good as it can be. He said, Jake the Snake, is he still alive, right? 100% Jake the Snake Roberts is still alive. A lot of those guys in that era are still alive. I believe the latest one that passed away was Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was the last one of that golden era that just passed so far. Nobody else has passed yet. I know that they have Mongo McMichael. He's slowly on his way out after having the underlying issues and look like he's slowly on his way out as well. But hopefully he'll be able to make it through. But I know he's riddled with tubes and all the stuff like that. And a lot of the other talent like Hogan are still hanging in there, doing all right. Paul Ardorf is still hanging in there, doing all right. I'm not sure if his health is declining as well. Luger, he's still confined to a wheelchair. And so many of those talent back in those days are still going through it. And a lot of them, they don't come out the same. It's like they beat their body down, and of course, living like a rock star and having all the liquor and everything like that really dropped them from their core peak of who they originally are. They love that adrenaline of being in a square circle or just getting that pop from the fans. But of course, now they're doing it in household gymnasiums. But it's not the same as being with that big WWE crowd that they were so used to. But the crowd now is so larger than life that they never seen that in their lifetime. As the crowds were a little bit more controlled and smaller at the smaller arenas, like the sports auditorium and all those situations. He's asking about Scott Hall. No, Scott Hall is pretty much gone, Parker. Appreciate you asking. You're asking about a lot of the talent that have actually transitioned. A lot of those talent are no longer around. Scott Hall is pretty much gone. All the other members of the clique are still hanging on there. Kevin Nash is still doing good. He's a 7-footer with a 6-pack. Hogan is still hanging in there. Sean Waltman's doing good as he is actually sober now. He's on his 1 year admission of being sober when it comes to him not drinking anymore. And the other members of the NWO are still going through it. I know Scott Norton and all them, they still going through their actual problems as well. That's why we haven't seen them lately. They're not the same as what they used to be when they were larger in life when we were kids. And now they're pretty much the talent that they come across being. Then we get to the tag team match of Authors of Pain, Akam, and Razor versus the Final Testament carrying crosses there at ringside for Authors of Pain versus the New Day. This match is pretty decent. Kofi starts off with the match against Akam and Kingston as he charges and punches away into the corner. Akam proceeds to put the brakes and then whips him and sends Kofi Kingston to the opposite corner. But Kingston hits a springboard off the ropes with an axe handle. Then he proceeded to hit the ropes and ducks a clothesline for avoiding offense from Razor. Kingston superkicks Razor before turning into a nasty spine buster, but Akam tags in Razor and tags in and punches away at Kingston. As things continue to progress, they go into a picture-picture commercial break, a lot of back and forth, transitional tag team moves, and things proceeded to get underway when it came to everything that happened. Kofi Kingston was actually able to rally back with a hot tag. He was able to hit a mid-rope drop kick directly onto Akam. The referee backed him up into the corner. Cross gets into a cheap shot at Kofi Kingston. Razor tags in and attacks Kofi Kingston in the midsection. Razor then stretches over him with a shoulder, and then Kingston fights up and then reaches for a tag, and it hits a fallaway slam. Razor saunters him with a decent clothesline and tags in Akam back in. Back into the commercial break, Akam clubs directly at Kingston as Akam puts Kingston down on the top rope and punches him. Then proceeded, Kingston punches him back in and dives off the tornado DDT. Woods continued to get on the offense as Razor makes the tag in. Woods ducks a pair of clotheslines and slides in and sweeps the legs before hitting a discus forearm to the jaw. Woods punches away at Razor until he pushes him off, and Razor sends him to the corner, but Woods boots him back and hits him with a superplex. Woods superkicks Akam with a good measure, then Razor quickly tackles him and fights him off directly with a couple of headbutts, and then he flies off the top rope with a missile drop kick. Then Akam runs in, but Woods pulls the top rope down to get him out of the ring. Kingston stands on the top rope and hits Akam with the trustful wipeout to knock both members down. And this was a nasty little bump, but it was okay if it was. Hopefully Kofi's alright. As the referee checks on Kofi, Cross knocks Woods off the top ropes. All of a sudden, Odyssey Jones comes down on the ramp and attacks Cross, sending him into the ring apron before sending him into the crowd. Wood rolls Razor up for the pinfall for the 1, 2, and the 3 to seal the victory. That's New Day got the victory. Akam Razor immediately double team Woods, and Jones gets in the ring and runs off Akam and Razor before avalanching them into the corner and proceeded of splashes to the corner. He proceeded to do a dual sidewalk slam, which was impressive when it came to Odyssey Jones. Then he proceeded to fight with Karrion Kross, who proceeded to hit him with a forearm shot. Ross hits the ropes, and then Jones flattened him with a big boss slam. It was the inverted version of it, but it was sold so well, you couldn't ask for anything better. Then things broke down as Kofi Kingston celebrated along with Odyssey Jones. Xavier Woods got in, but wasn't looking too impressed, but New Day actually celebrated after things happened in that actual match. Then we get a video package from the World Tag Team Champion JD McDonough, and says his favorite part of SummerSlam was watching Damian Priest face when Finn Balor betrayed him. More importantly, Priest didn't realize that he was the only champion because the Judgment Day allowed it. McDonough sacrificed his body to keep Priest on top, and Priest never wanted McDonough to be in Judgment Day, which is true. He really did not want him to be in Judgment Day whatsoever. Then, because he knew that he was the only person on the planet that Balor would listen to above him, McDonough has his revenge because Priest is out of the Judgment Day and he is currently in. McDonough says he is a champion and Priest has nothing. And tonight Priest will rise for the Judgment Day. Then we get things underway as A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grace Waller make their way for tag team action as they proceeded to get ready to take on Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz. It's going to be a decent one. But I look forward to continue to be invested to see how things continue to be progress. Then we get ready for this year's Survivor Series War Games, which is coming to Vancouver for Saturday, November 30th. So if you are in the Vancouver area, you're going to get War Games, and it's going to be awesome. Then they show a replay of Odyssey Jones showing him helping New Day and being manhandling all this pain and carrying cross. Then we switch to a backstage segment of the New Day with Odyssey Jones and says he is honored to help out the New Day. Kofi introduces Odyssey Jones to Xavier Woods, where Woods looks on. He's a little hesitant to shake his hand and take back and kind of enjoy the moment. He didn't know Jones and Woods would come out. More importantly, because Kofi did not speak to him about their situation when it came to him coming out. Then they said they continued he spoke to him about their problems with the Final Testament. Then Otis, Maxi Dupree, and Akira Tozawa of the Alpha Academy, they come to celebrate. Tozawa does this funny dance, but it kept us all invested and was hilarious. When it came to Akira Tozawa, you couldn't ask for nothing else better. Then, of course, they continue to do a recap of things that broke down with The Miz and A-Town Down Under for a recap with Jelly Roll, who delivered a sick choke slam that truly kept us invested when it came to everything that happened. Then we start the match off between A-Town Down Under and Awesome Truth. This was a lot of back and forth. R-Truth started the match on Austin Theory, putting him on a slide headlock. Grayson Waller tags in. More importantly, R-Truth gives him a back body drop before sending A-Town Down Under, flying with a double head scissors takeover. Then Awesome Truth dominates A-Town Down Under and knocks them out of the ring with a preceded clothesline. They return from the commercial break and R-Truth grabs the bottom rope to break up the pin from Waller. Theory tags in and then Theory hits a double drop kick with Grayson Waller. But R-Truth avoids it and Theory quickly takes R-Truth down, but R-Truth soon gets away of the situation. The Mick tag in and then hits Theory and Waller with a clothesline. Then the Miz ducks a double clothesline and hits them both with a double flapjack. Then the Miz starts up with the it kicks on both Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Then he follows up with a double basement dropkick, and then the Miz hits Waller with a basement ball slide before hitting Theory with a plancha. The crowd is going wild and really are just invested to everything that's actually going on in this match. A lot of back and forth. The Miz ends up proceeding to hit a crossbody block and covers for a 2 count, but R-Truth makes a blind tag and the Miz cannot believe it. R-Truth goes for Waller, but who isn't the legal man, for an attitude adjustment. He spins around with Waller legs hitting the Miz in the head, which takes him out. Then R-Truth hits the AA, but Theory hits R-Truth with the A-Town Down for the 1-2-3. As A-Town Down picks up the victory. The Miz wasn't too happy when everything broke down and he was pissed off, and we're probably going to get a Miz heel turn once again. I'm cool with the Miz being a heel. R-Truth is funny as hell when he's actually a baby face. Then things are continue to be progress, as this was a GM kind of thing collaboration with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis for bringing A-Town Down Under to Monday Night Raw. I know a lot of people was confused, like, why is Raw people directly on SmackDown people directly on Monday Night Raw? They're probably making room for the feud for Roman Reigns to make his actual return this following Friday. So you know he's gonna get a big pop when it comes to the crowd. He was red hot when he made his return at SummerSlam. And you knew he was gonna get nothing else less when it comes to the tribal chief. And I'm a big fan of Roman Reigns. More importantly, we get a video package from Damian Priest. Says the beating between JD and McDonough is going to receive is a long time coming. Priest didn't want McDonough in the Judgment Day, and no one expected one guy he thought was his brother until Saturday. With such a big head, but a little small brain. McDonough is too stupid to realize he's already been betrayed. More importantly, Finn Balor gives him to Priest to fire the first bullet. But Priest hopes McDonough confesses his sins yesterday because he's taking his big-headed ass out. Then, of course, we get the arena. We get things underway for the actual match. The match gets a highlight and everything under the sun. Then, of course, they continue to hype up SummerSlam with the whole 580 million social media viewership for SummerSlam as it being posted all over social media. Then, of course, we get the earlier package from Gunther and his run-in with Randy Orton, setting up the match for Bash in Berlin. And Randy Orton will be going for his 15th World Heavyweight Championship at the Bash. Then we get an interview by Kathy Kelly asking the WWE Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker, is he ready for his onslaught of superstars coming after him? Breaker says he has taken less than 3 years to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Breaker is the hunter, and the locker room is the hunted. What idiot thinks that they have the courage to take this from him? Breaker feels sorry for them. And a lot of people think Breaker was born for this moment, and the championship was born for him. The moment the championship was given to him after the nameplate was switched on the title, this is his name bottled up onto his championship. And there isn't a man on the planet that can take the name off this title. And the crowd ends up barking and proceeded to get things underway for JD McDonough versus Damian Priest. Carlito is there at ringside. He comes there directly with JD McDonough. The bell rings with Priest going right after him. McDonough ducks and steps a slap in the face. This just anchors Damian Priest as McDonough chops him and Priest doesn't sell it well. Priest soon big boots McDonough into his big head. Then things proceeded to go for as punches away at McDonough in the corner before stomping him down. As Priest whips McDonough in the corner before hitting a big flapjack. Priest viciously forearms McDonough in the mouth and Priest whips McDonough in the ropes. But he lowers his head and hits a kick directly to the head. Priest just stands up and punches him in the face, and then Priest gets the crowd going into the actual match for Avalanche backbreaker. But McDonough avoids it, but McDonough shoulders away Priest in the midsection and forearms him down. McDonough hits a basement dropkick in the corner and the crowd chants JD sucks. McDonough stumps Priest in the hand and of course slaps him a few times before Priest fights back. But McDonough knees him in the face and then clubs him down directly as McDonough hits a couple forearms as well to keep the match of the mates going. As the Priest pops up and start exchanging blows directly at him to keep the match flowing. Priest soon blocks shots him and kicks Damian McDonough out of the ring. He looks over at Carlito, who walks away, and Priest tries to get Carlito, but Carlito avoids him, and Priest lifts McDonough and teases to throw him into Carlito. As Priest goes to a lawn dart into the ring post, McDonough slides off and sends Priest into the ring post. McDonough then hits a suicide dive and then hits his head on the corner of the table. As they go into the commercial break, they went back and forth in the low transitional moves, as Carlito even got a couple of cheap shots in. They come back from the break as McDonough grips and then blocks the ear. Priest goes for the Southern Heaven, but McDonough flips through. He headbutts him, and then McDonough goes to the top and then hits a picture-perfect moonsault for the near fall for it too. Another ring out for JD Sucks brings out as the crowd continue to get invested. Priest then puts him in for a flatliner. McDonough gets up and slaps Priest in the face, and Priest gets fired up and strikes away at McDonough before crushing him with a forearm shiver. Priest seizes him up and in the corner and then hits a leaping back elbow, and then Priest throws him to the corner with a broken arrow. Then McDonough rolls out of the ring to recover, so Priest follows him and punches him over the commentary table, which is kind of funny. Then Priest gets McDonough into the ring and turns him inside out with a clothesline, and Carlito gets on the apron and eats a kick from Priest. Priest pulls the straps down, signal for the end. Then Finn Balor attacks from behind. This causes a disqualification as Damian Priest is trying to fight off the rest of the members of All Judgment Day, as Balor, Carlito, Mysterio all put the beat down to him. Balor whips McDonough into Priest, but Priest gives him a back body drop before over the top rope. Priest fights off Mysterio and Carlito before being left in the ring with Balor. Balor tries to escape, but Priest grabs him and tries to hit the Razor's Edge. But Morgan pulls Balor down and then stands in Priest's way as Mysterio hits a chop block from behind, and he proceeded to hit the beatdown directly on Damian Priest. Then Mommy's music hit, Rhea Ripley. She comes down. You hear that "This is my brutality." She runs down full steam. Rhea runs down the ramp, makes the save from Morgan, runs their way, but Rhea catches Liv Morgan and sends her swelling to the ring post, not once, but twice. She goes for a Razor's Edge on Morgan, but Mysterio pulls her away, then runs away. Then in the ring, Ripley gets in the ring and then headbutts Jade McDonough, and Priest then destroys McDonough with the Southern Heaven, and Priest and Rhea Ripley stands tall and hug as they actually end that situation that broke down. Then we hype up the video package for Roman Reigns' return to the main event of SummerSlam, attacking Solo Sikoa. Once again, they really was hyping up SummerSlam with all the different segments and recap and replays throughout the night. Then we do the next week's segment of Damage Control's walking backstage, and Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Tart end up attacking them from behind. They take out Io and Kari from behind, and then go after no other than the Dakota Kai's knee. Then they end up walking off, and the Dakota's grabbing her knee in pain, and they proceeded to say, "I guess we're not having a match." Then, of course, things broke down very quickly as we had Io Sky and Kairi Sane make their way down quickly, try to get into a melee brawl to avoid the offense. Deville knees away at Sky's midsection, but Sky reverses it with a whip and hits a head scissors takeover. Sky hits a Starks with a sloppy baseball slide, but attacks Baszler, and Deville sends Sky into the steps. They come back for the commercial break, and then Deville puts Sky into the ring and then puts her for a 2 count. Then things proceed to go off the deep end as Sky is in the corner, slinged her in by her hair. Sky fights back at Deville, but rolls her up for a 2 count as Deville blocks and kicks and knees her directly in the face, which was a brutal knee strike. Then Sky then sends Deville shoulder first into the ring post as Sky blocks a kick and it hits a dragon screw. Sky hits a shoulder tackle and an uppercut followed by a drop kick. Then she proceeded to hit Sky with a running elbow in the corner. Sky came off the offense and goes to the top rope and hits a middle drop kick for a 2 count. That was a stiff bump by Io Sky, but took on that missile drop kick, which is kind of rough. Io Sky goes for a Tiger Driver, but Deville fights out and then knees her in the face. And Deville goes for a running knee in the face for a 2 count. Sky soon rolls up and then hits a double stomp into the midsection. She proceeded to connect with a bullet train attack and running double knees in the corner. But Stark breaks it up and Insane clubs Stark in the face in the ring. But Sky gets off on the offense as Sane and Sky stand on the same turnbuckle, and they go for the offense for a moonsault onto the floor into Baszler and Deville. Sky goes on the other end and then hits an insane elbow onto Stark. Sky goes in heads first into the top rope, but Sky connects with a over the moon, and those two ladies pick up the victory in a handicap match. It was kind of amazing to see Io Sky and Kairi Sane showing what they can do. But the match was pretty sloppy from when it came to Io Sky and Sonya Deville. They have like a mixed communication. But more importantly, I still was invested when it came to everything that went on directly in this match. But it was chill for the ladies division, but I feel like it was still lackluster for the most part. But hopefully it gets better over time. Then we proceed to go to a backstage segment of Ilya Dragunov is taking on the addicted Sami. He's talking to Sami Zayn, telling him that he will be a great champion one day. Zayn tells Dragunov that he will be the greatest champion, and he walks off. Main event: Jey Uso walks up to Sami Zayn as he tries to cheer him up and says Zayn has been here before and he's get his rematch and gets the Intercontinental Championship back. But more importantly, he says that he has a rematch for the title next week. And Uso says he has something for a bigger upper hand for more business to handle with the Judgment Day. And then Zayn can become a double champion. And Zayn looks excited after Jey Uso hypes him up. Michael Cole gives an update on Seth Rollins, who's in the hospital getting a CT CAT scan and an endoscopy. And of course, we ended up getting another VHS creepy from which shows Pig Boy. It shows Joe Gacy, who's rocking backstage. Uncle Howie says they thought they could control you, but they locked you away. But I saw through their lies, and they all pay for their sins. And that was a decent little hint. And of course, they did like a cinematic kind of style. And each member of the Wyatt SICKS more importantly, feel invested and feel important. And I enjoyed every single minute when it came to the Wyatt SICKS. Chad Gable shown backstage in the backstage segment with Brutus and Julius. They attacked him with a pathetic family left him high and dry. Now he has a new family with the Creeds by his side. They send them back to whatever freak show swamp that they came from. And the Y6 haven't seen anything like them. They are American made, and they're going through the gorilla position to make their entrance. Pretty interesting new song from Chad Gable, but it was decent for what it was. The Y6 end up making their in-ring debut as they come back from a commercial break. They hype up the next week. Intercontinental Champion 2 out of 3 falls matches. Braun Breaker would be taking on Sami Zayn. More importantly, the tag number 1 contenders match. Io Sky and Kairi Sane taking on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, the crown of new number contenders, who will be taking on Unholy Union in the near future. Then we get the 6-man tag team action underway as the Wyatt SICKS make the entrance with Bray Wyatt's old current theme, which was a kind of like homage to him. I love the whole setup with them having the chair at the beginning of the entrance ramp, with the lantern sitting on Bray Wyatt's old rocking chair. Then they all came directly strolling through, took their mask off, and then Uncle Howdy had a brand new chair with fur and everything like that to make it seem like it's his own rocking chair. And he sat with the lantern with Albie the Witch, also known as Nikki Cross, and the other 3 big men, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, and Joe Gacy, got things underway to take on Chad Gable and the Cree Brothers of American Made. Eric Rowan and Dexter Lumis make their way directly to get things underway. Chad Gable will start the match against Dexter Lumis, who thinks he is Mercy the Buzzard. Gable runs away and tags in Julius. Lumis hits a big back elbow, followed by a slam. Lumis hits the ropes and hits a pair of forearms, followed by a leg drop. Joe Gacy tags in, and Gacy thinks he is Husky the Pig Boy, and Julius sends Gacy into the corner, but Gacy does a headstand. And Gacy grabs Julius and hits an overhead belly suplex. Lumis tags in, and Gacy hits Lumis with a back suplex neck breaker combo between Brutus and Julius. Runs in. Julius sends Lumis into the ropes, and Gable pulls him down by his hair. Gable tags in the Cree Brothers and attack Aaron Rowan and Gacy. The big brawl breaks out between the Wyatt SICKS and American Made as Rollins lifted and slammed Gable onto Julius. Gacy then crushes Gable with a couple of shoulder thrusts, and then Rowan hits a power bomb, him over the top rope onto American Made. They come back from the commercial break as things continue to progress after the picture-in-picture, and when they proceeded to come back, this is where things broke down. As Rowan makes a tag in, he runs in on everyone. Gable eats a spinning kick. Rowan hits a flying clothesline at the Cree Brothers before hitting a scary back body drop onto Gable. Rowan takes Gable out with a baseball slide on the ring side before slamming him face first into the barricade. Then Eric Rowan proceeded to pay homage to Luke Harper and does the slingshot roll-in senton as he did that kiss and let things flow and then hit that senton. Rowan crushed Gable with a power slam, but then the Cree Brothers break up the pinfall. Eric Rowan grabs Brutus, but Julius knees him in the face. Gacy runs in, but the Cree Brothers dump him out of the ring. Then, of course, things continue to go back and forth as they hit a double team move on Gacy at ringside. All of a sudden, Loomis goes off the top rope and takes down the Cree Brothers out of nowhere. In the ring, Gable hits Rowan with a bridge German suplex for a near fall. The crowd started to chant, "You suck," at Chad Gable. Things continue to pick up as they look at the Cree Brothers, but Loomis and Gacy greets him instead. The Cree Brothers go for a blindside for Loomis and Gacy, but Loomis and Gacy hits them with a double Uranagis onto the commentary table. Then they proceed to Gable turns into an Iron Claw slam with Rowan. Gacy and Loomis tags in, and Gacy hits a power bomb with Loomis onto Chad Gable, which is kind of a unique little tag team move. Loomis heads to the top rope and hits a big splash for the pinfall on Chad Gable to seal the victory as the Wyatt SICKS celebrate in a pose with Uncle Howdy as he shouts, "We here," and it cuts directly off of Monday Night Raw. The match was decent. It was a 4.1 out of 5 stars. It kept me highly invested. Each character was into their own, but seeing American Made do what they possibly could to try to take on the Wyatt SICKS, but the Wyatt SICKS was too much. Thank God they're not having like over-the-top supernatural powers where they just reflect things like how the Fiend was. But I know we're going to get some kind of reincarnation eventually in the near future. But it'll be still interesting to see once Uncle Howdy gets in the ring and how he continues to invest his moves, as it is officially Bo Dallas. But the persona of how they continue to make things work continue to keep me invested each and every single week. I loved everything about this match, and I look forward to seeing more of what the Wyatts can do. And hopefully they're not just signed to Monday Night Raw. Hopefully they're undrafted and be able to go to any show and continue to run Rampage on everybody. The show was decent. It was pretty decent for, I feel like, a Raw after SummerSlam. More importantly, it kept me invested. It kept me intrigued to want to see more of this on a weekly basis. But Triple H did a phenomenal job to keep things running smoothly. Congratulations to all the new champions from SummerSlam, including Braun Breaker, Gunther, as well as Nia Jax winning the WWE Women's Championship. But I appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support as things continue to run with smooth progress. But more importantly, if you guys are here on a weekly basis, I will be doing live content. Try to keep you guys going every single night on Monday Night Raw for every single weekly content, as well as AEW on Wednesdays, Friday night SmackDown, Saturdays for Collision. Every so often, they need to get better when it comes to Collision. And most importantly, I'll be available with co-hosts, interchange co-hosts for PLEs and pay-per-views for AEW, Ring of Honor, and as well as for WWE. But let's go ahead and get into the closing and making sure we got some comments coming through. Let's see if anybody has anything important to say. Is Owen Hart going to be in the Hall of Fame? With the situation that's going on with Martha Hart, she do not trust WWE. Even though a lot of people from World Wrestling Entertainment were the cause of the situation that caused the death of Owen Hart. With the way how she has a strained relationship with the Hart family, they feel like he deserved to be in there. I don't see Martha letting that happen. Maybe not. But Parker, to answer your question, I don't think so at the time being. Maybe down the road, if once his kids get older, maybe they will have a say so. But right now, they're listening to their mom, and their mom is saying no. Is there any other questions that are possibly coming through? It will be highly appreciated. Before I close out the stream and make things all easy breezy, cover girl or cover guy, depending on who's all here tonight. He said, why? Because of the circumstances that happened, she does not trust WWE after the situation happened with Vince and had them do that stunt that had occurred back in the 90s when he was the Blue Blazer that made to succumb to his death. So she feels some kind of way because they didn't address the situation. They did not apologize to her, and they still haven't to this day. They just kind of brushed on the rug. It was like, all right, let's get back to business. But really didn't address her. They didn't compensate her. They didn't do anything when it came to the situation. Of course, the other wrestlers and the boys that normally were close to Owen, of course, apologize. But personally, WWE, the actual headquarters, have not done anything to make amends or squash everything. Maybe Triple H can try to get to Martha. But right now, Martha's having a good thing going with AEW with the Owen Hart Foundational Cup, which they have every single year with AEW, which continues to be a great memory of him. But he is in the Hall of Fame and the Canadian Hall of Fame. As well, he is in the Illustrator All-American Hall of Fame as well. He is actually is Bret Hart in the Hall of Fame. That's the easy one. Bret Hart is in the Hall of Fame. Most of these questions are um straightforward. Bret went in so long ago. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. He went in twice. He went in by himself. He's a two-time Hall of Famer. He went in by himself and he went in as the Hart Foundation, Jim Anvil. So he went twice. After that incident happened the second time, where Bret got attacked by that fan, which that's something that's still going to be in the memory of seeing Bret Hart getting attacked by a fan, well, tackled with Natalia. But of course, FTR, who originally wasn't WWE at the time, they put the beat down, and so many times put the beat down on that fan after they tackled Bret Hart back in that Hall of Fame back in a couple years back. Majority of the other Hart members, they have not been implemented yet. British Bulldog is in the Hall of Fame. Owen's just the only one from the original Hart Foundation who's not there. Brian Pillman is not yet, but I'm pretty sure that'll be interesting now that his son is there in NXT. That most likely they probably push that to the moon to put Brian Pillman into the Hall of Fame. But let's talk about people that aren't in the Hall of Fame. We got so many of them. You got the Nasty Boys, Demolition. There's so many I can go off of Tatanka, IRS, which I think he is. Yeah, he went in, but he went in under a different persona when it came to last year when he was with the American team tag team. Tito Santana, he went in as well, but he went under the banner with him and IRS was a tag team. So many talent that have been in the past are still on the chopping block. Sid Vicious is not in the Hall of Fame, and so many more that have not actually reached their peak yet. Chime down in the comments below. Let me know who would you like to see in the Hall of Fame this following year, and go from there. Until the next episode, I appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support. I'll catch y'all on the next episode. Y'all be safe and be breezy. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.